You look at a message on your screen, a simple invitation from someone who genuinely cares about you, and your first instinct isn't excitement. It's a quiet, heavy calculation of how much energy it will take to answer, to show up, to be perceived. You slide the notification away, telling yourself you will reply when you have the capacity, but the capacity never quite returns. By the time a few days pass, the window feels closed, and what you feel isn't guilt, but a strange, protective sense of relief. This drift away from the world rarely begins with a dramatic decision to isolate yourself from friends or family. It happens through a slow, imperceptible renegotiation with your own limits, where staying behind a closed door gradually becomes your baseline. Psychologists map this behavior along a spectrum called high self-monitoring, which is the internal effort spent managing how you appear to others. When you are high on this spectrum, simple conversations stop being a tool for connection and instead become an exercise in risk management. You are constantly evaluating your tone, deciphering micro-expressions, and filtering your thoughts through what you think the other person wants to hear. This creates immense cognitive load, a state where the brain is working so hard to process information that it quickly exhausts its mental fuel. For some people, this overhead is so steep that they quietly stop entering situations that charge it, trading connection for psychological safety. You remember when your social calendar used to feel full? When stepping out the door didn't require a mental pep talk in front of the mirror? But then a busy month turned into a quiet season, and you discovered how peaceful an unmapped weekend could truly feel. Gradually, maybe next week became your default response, a gentle placeholder that allowed you to exit without causing friction. You didn't mean to stop showing up, but the world outside started to feel louder, while the quiet inside became addictive. When a person spends prolonged periods away from social spaces, the brain doesn't just rest, it changes how it reads the environment. The neuroscientist John Cacioppo spent decades studying isolation and discovered that long-term solitude alters our baseline neural processing. When the nervous system spends too much time alone, it enters a state of hyper-vigilance, treating the social world as fundamentally unsafe. Instead of looking for warmth, your brain begins scanning for threat cues, a slight pause in a conversation, or a brief text message. A short reply from a friend stops being interpreted as them having a busy day. It becomes definitive proof that they are tired of you. This is driven by rejection sensitivity, a cognitive framework where past experiences train the mind to anticipate hurt far before it actually happens. Avoidance functions as a preemptive strike. It is impossible to be rejected by a social circle you never allowed yourself to join. So you sit at home, turning your own preference over and over in your head, trying to diagnose the exact moment things shifted. You read articles, listen to podcasts, and try to figure out if you are an introvert, an empath, or simply broken underneath it all. You tell yourself that you're just being deeply self-aware, analyzing the wound so you can eventually figure out how to heal it. But if you look closely, the analysis itself has become the perfect reason to stay exactly where you are. This loop introduces a highly specific psychological paradox known as introspection as avoidance, where self-reflection becomes a wall. When you spend all your energy analyzing why you struggle to connect, you successfully protect yourself from the actual discomfort of trying. It feels productive because you're doing deep psychological work, but it operates as a sophisticated shield against real-world vulnerability. The internal narrative shifts from "I am hiding from people" to "I am working on myself," which the surrounding culture constantly validates. This behavior operates within the classic habit loop. The trigger is social anxiety, the routine is withdrawal and deep analysis, and the reward is absolute control. Inside your own head, there are no unpredictable reactions, no awkward silences, and no risks of being misunderstood by another human being. But this complete control comes at a steep neurological cost, slowly shrinking your tolerance for the natural messiness of human relationships. The most difficult part of this isolation is the quiet contradiction that lives in the center of it day after day. You can genuinely love the peace of your own solitude and still feel the ache of the distance growing between you and the world. These two realities don't cancel each other out. They live together in the very same hour you choose to stay home. Your avoidance wasn't an error. It was a survival strategy that protected something fragile when the world felt entirely too heavy. The question you have to ask yourself now is whether the strategy is still serving you, or if it is just keeping you safe in an empty room.
You can watch the rest of this ongoing series right now over on our channel. Click the next video on your screen to keep exploring.